Victor Frankenstein lived in Geneva, Switzerland. He was a young man who loved science very much. His family was rich and kind. Victor had a happy childhood with his parents and his adopted sister Elizabeth. When Victor was 17, he went to university. He studied chemistry and biology. Victor was very ambitious and wanted to discover the secrets of life. He worked day and night in his laboratory. Victor's teachers liked him because he was a good student. He read many books about science and medicine. Soon, Victor became interested in creating life from dead things. At university, Victor met Professor Waldman. The professor taught him about the human body. Victor learned how muscles, bones, and organs work together. He became fascinated with the idea of bringing dead things back to life. Victor spent many hours in graveyards and hospitals. He studied dead bodies to understand how life works. The young scientist began to think he could create a human being. This obsession made him forget about his family and friends. Other students thought Victor was strange. He never came to parties or social events. Victor only cared about his experiments and his dream of creating life. Victor decided to create a human being in his laboratory. He collected body parts from dead people. Victor worked alone because he wanted to keep his experiment secret. He did not tell anyone about his plan. For months, Victor worked on his creature. He sewed body parts together and used electricity to give it life. The work was difficult and gruesome, but Victor continued. He believed he was doing something important for science. Victor became thin and sick from working too hard. He did not eat well or sleep enough. His friends were worried about him, but Victor did not listen to their concerns. One dark night in November, Victor's experiment worked. Lightning struck his laboratory and electricity flowed through the creature's body. Suddenly, the creature opened its yellow eyes and began to breathe. Victor was shocked and frightened. The creature was very tall and strong, but it was also terrible to look at. Its skin was yellow and its face was hideous. Victor realized he had made a terrible mistake. The creature tried to reach for Victor, but the scientist ran away. He left his laboratory and spent the night walking in the streets. Victor was too scared to go back and face what he had created. Victor became very sick after creating the creature. He had a fever and could not eat or sleep. His friend Henry Clerval came to visit him. Henry was worried about Victor's health and took care of him. For many weeks, Victor was ill. He had bad dreams about his creature. Henry didn't understand what had happened to his friend. Victor was too ashamed to tell Henry about his experiment. Slowly, Victor got better. He hoped that his creature had died or gone away. Victor wanted to forget about his experiment and return to his normal life. Victor received a letter from his father. The letter contained terrible news. Victor's younger brother, William, had been murdered. Someone had killed the child in the woods near Geneva. Victor immediately returned home to be with his family. Everyone was very sad about William's death. The police had arrested Justin, a servant who worked for the family. They thought she had murdered William. Victor knew that Justin was innocent, but he could not tell anyone the truth. He suspected that his creature had killed William. Victor felt guilty because he had created the monster. The police put Justin on trial for William's murder. She said she was innocent, but no one believed her. Victor wanted to help Justin, but he was afraid to tell anyone about his creature. Elizabeth tried to help Justin by speaking for her in court. She told everyone that Justin was a good person who would never hurt anyone. But the judges did not listen to Elizabeth's words. Victor felt tormented by his guilt and shame. Justin was found guilty of murder. The judges sentenced her to death. Victor watched as they took away an innocent woman. He knew he was responsible for her death. Victor went to the mountains to think about his problems. He felt responsible for William's death and Justin's execution. While walking alone, Victor met his creature for the first time since the night he created it. The creature was angry with Victor. It said that Victor had abandoned it after giving it life. The creature felt lonely and wanted Victor to create a female companion for it. It promised to go away if Victor would make another creature. Victor was afraid of his creature's strength and anger. The creature threatened to hurt more people if Victor did not help it. Victor did not know what to do. The creature told Victor what had happened since it came to life. After Victor ran away, the creature had to learn everything by itself. It learned to find food, make fire, and speak by watching people. The creature found a family living in a cottage. It watched them secretly and learned about human emotions like love and kindness. The creature wanted to be friends with the family, but they were terrified of its appearance. When the family saw the creature, they screamed and ran away. The creature felt rejected and angry. It realized that all humans would be afraid of it because it looked different. The creature told Victor that it had killed William because it was angry and lonely. It wanted Victor to feel the same pain of losing someone important. The creature also put evidence in Justin's room so she would be blamed for the murder. Victor was horrified by what his creature had done. The creature demanded that Victor create a female companion for it. It said that if Victor made another creature, they would go away and never hurt anyone again. Victor was reluctant to create another monster, but he was also afraid of what his creature might do. Finally, Victor made a promise to create a female creature. He hoped this would stop the creature from hurting more people. Victor went to England with his friend Henry to collect materials for the second creature. Victor needed special equipment and chemicals that were only available in London. Henry did not know the real reason for their trip. Victor and Henry traveled to Scotland, where Victor could work in secret. Victor found a quiet place on a small island where no one would disturb him. He began working on the female creature. As Victor worked, he began to worry about what might happen. He imagined the two creatures having children and creating a dynasty for monsters. Victor became anxious about the consequences of his actions. He started to think that creating another monster was a terrible mistake. Victor almost finished with the female creature when he had a terrible thought. What if the two creatures did not go away as promised? What if they stayed and hurt more people? Victor became afraid of creating another monster. Victor looked at the female creature on his table. He thought about all the terrible things that might happen if he gave it life. Victor could not continue with his work. In a moment of desperation, Victor destroyed the female creature. He tore apart all his work and threw the pieces into the sea. Victor knew his creature would be angry, but he felt he had to stop. He could not create another monster. The creature saw Victor destroy the female creature. It was furious and felt betrayed. The creature told Victor that it would make him suffer for breaking his promise. It said it would be with Victor on his wedding night. Victor was afraid, but he was also relieved that he had not created another monster. The creature did not know when or where the creature would strike next. Victor tried to return to England, but the police arrested him. They thought he had murdered Henry, who had been found dead on the beach. Victor was devastated to learn that his creature had killed his best friend. He spent several months in prison before proving his innocence. Victor spent several months in prison before proving his innocence. His father came to bring him home to Geneva. Victor was very sad about Henry's death and blamed himself for what had happened. When Victor returned home, he tried to live a normal life. He decided to marry Elizabeth, as they had planned since childhood. Victor hoped that marriage would help him forget about his creature and his terrible experiments. Victor prepared for his wedding, but he was always worried. He remembered the creature's threat to be with him on his wedding night. Victor was apprehensive about what might happen. He bought a gun to protect himself and Elizabeth from the creature. Victor and Elizabeth had a beautiful wedding. All their friends and family came to celebrate. Victor tried to be happy, but he could not forget about the creature's threat. He kept looking around, expecting to see the monster. After the wedding, Victor and Elizabeth went to a hotel for their honeymoon. Victor was very nervous and kept checking the windows and doors. He had brought a gun to protect himself and Elizabeth. Victor heard a scream from the bedroom. He ran to find Elizabeth, but it was too late. The creature had killed her. Victor was heartbroken and filled with rage at his creature. He had lost the woman he loved because of this terrible creation. Victor's father died from sadness after hearing about Elizabeth's death. Victor had lost everyone he loved because of his creature. He decided to spend the rest of his life hunting the monster and getting revenge. Victor followed the creature across Europe and into the Arctic. The creature left messages for Victor, taunting him and leading him further north. Victor was determined to catch and destroy his creation. For months, Victor chased the creature across the ice. He became weak and sick from the cold and lack of food. Victor's determination kept him going even when his body wanted to give up. Victor would not stop until he found his creature. The hunt became his only reason for living. A ship exploring the Arctic found Victor on the ice. He was almost dead from cold and hunger. The ship's captain, Robert Walton, took care of Victor and listened to his story. Victor told Walton about his creature and all the terrible things that had happened. Walton was amazed by Victor's story but also worried about his health. Victor was very weak and getting sicker. Victor warned Walton to be careful of the creature. He made Walton promise to destroy the monster if Victor died. Victor felt remorseful about all the pain he had caused by creating the creature. He wished he had never started his experiments. Victor became weaker each day. He was exhausted from chasing his creature across the Arctic. Victor knew he was going to die, but he was still angry about what the creature had done to his family. Victor told Walton that he regretted creating the creature. He said that some knowledge was too dangerous for humans to have. Victor wished he had never started his experiments. Victor's legacy was one of tragedy and loss. He had wanted to help humanity, but instead he had created a monster that killed innocent people. Victor died on the ship, still thinking about his creature. Walton was sad to lose his new friend. After Victor died, the creature came to the ship. It looked at Victor's body and felt sorry for what had happened. The creature told Walton that it was sad about Victor's death, even though they were enemies. The creature explained that it had only wanted love and friendship. When humans rejected it, the creature became angry and cruel. It said that killing people did not make it happy, but it could not stop its revenge. The creature felt melancholy about its lonely existence. It was tired of being alone and hated what it had become. The creature told Walton that it would go to the North Pole and destroy itself. It did not want to live without Victor. The creature left the ship and disappeared into the Arctic night. Walton never saw it again. Walton decided to return home instead of continuing his dangerous journey to the North Pole. Walton wrote letters to his sister telling her about Victor and his creature. He warned her about the dangers of trying to discover secrets that humans were not meant to know. Walton learned from Victor's mistakes. The story of Victor Frankenstein and his creature became a warning about the dangers of science without wisdom. Victor's tragic tale reminded people that some knowledge comes with a terrible price. The pursuit of knowledge must be balanced with respect for life and the consequences of our actions.